Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to demonstrate the multiple providers configuration in Terraform. So we are in 03 Terraform fundamental blocks, and inside that we are going inside 0303 multiple provider configurations. Okay. So as part of this section, so we need to define multiple provider configurations and then implement the same thing. So introductory part is completed. So now we are entering into the step 2, how to define multiple provider configurations of same provider. Okay, so now let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, and whatever we have defined here is, you can see C1 for versions and C2 for VPC US East 1 resource and C3 for VPC US West 1 resource. Okay, so C1, the Terraform block is not going to change, and provider 1 block also not going to change from our previous section provider block. Okay, so now we are going to create a new provider block for our new VPC which we want to create in West 1 region. Okay, so I'll select the provider and I'll select it as AWS, and I'll select the region. Okay, so region as US-West-1, and profile is going to be same, which is default. If you want, you can use the different credential profile also. Okay, and now the next thing here is the important configuration is alias. Okay, so here we are going to say AWS-West-1 as the alias name. So in C1 versions, we have one provider for US East 1 region, which is the default profile, so which will not have any alias here. Okay, so that's the reason whatever the resource you create without any provider information inside the resource, it gets created directly in this region. And whenever you provide the provider information with this alias information inside the resource, so then it is going to create in US West 1 region. So now let's go to VPC US East 1. Okay, so this is the default one, so it really doesn't need any provider information here. By default, it will go ahead and then create in US East 1 because it doesn't have any provider information here. Okay, so let's copy this and go to US West 1 and paste it here. Okay, and change the information here. The name reference is West 1. I am going to say here also West 1. Okay, so now the next thing we are going to add here is an argument named a meta argument. Okay, so these meta arguments we are going to again discuss in the section here, depends on count, lifecycle, for each here in detail when we are dealing with the 04 resources. But let's remember, for any resource there will have something called arguments, and also you can export those information with attributes. In addition to that, there will be something called meta arguments. So those meta arguments are something as special arguments used by Terraform for handling the things or resource behavior how you want to handle. For that purpose you need them. Okay, so now the argument here is provider. Okay, so let's select the provider, and now here comes the thing. Okay, you want to reference that provider here. Okay, provider, so the provider is this one, AWS.AWS-West1. Okay, so let's reference that AWS-West1. Okay, so now this completes the configuration of versions, the provider 2, and also creating a VPC in US East 1 standard, and also creating a VPC in US West 2 using the provider whatever you have configured here, which is provider 2. Okay, additional note here is provider is equal to provider name dot alias. This is a meta argument from resource section, nothing but a special argument you can call it as. Okay, so that's about it. So now we have saved everything, these things. Now let's go back to our documentation here and then start executing the commands. Okay, so now where we are, so we'll go to 03 fundamental blocks and 0303 multiple provider configurations, and we'll go to Terraform manifest. And if you see here, you have only these things, C1, C3 and then C2, that's all. Okay, so first things first is we will say Terraform init, so which will download our HashiCorp AWS related provider information to the .terraform folder, and also it creates a log file, okay, terraform log.hcl, which will have the provider information here. Okay, so that's the thing. So now let me clear these things, and now we will do the terraform validate, so which will validate and then says that configuration is valid, because there is no typos or anything from configuration perspective, so it is good. So now we will say terraform plan to see what will happen. Ideally what should happen is it should create 2 resources. So you can see 2 to add, one in US East 1 region and the other in US East 2 region. Okay, so it is saying I'll create, and this is in VPC US 1. Let's go here down, and this should be created in East 1 region, and this should be created in West 1 region. Okay, so let's see what will happen once we create and then test it. Okay, so terraform apply auto approve. Let's wait for the resources to get created, and we'll go back here and verify in the VPCs. So we are in the North Virginia US East 1 region. So it created the VPC US 1 here, US East 1. Okay, so now it is also creating the West 1. So let's see where it creates. Okay, so it got created. So in North Virginia region, which is US East 1, you have the VPC US East 1. Let's go to US West 1 region, which is North California. So let's select that and wait to see that it has created in that respective region. Okay, so now if we see it here, VPC US West 1 got created here. Okay, so that's about it with 10.1.0.0.16. Okay, so whatever we have put it here. Okay, so this is 10.1.0.0.16 for US East 1, and also 10.1.0.0.16 for US West 1 also we have put that way, and it created. So let me go back to the default US East 1 region, and this completes the section of demonstrating the multiple providers. So let's go ahead and then clean up the stuff. Okay, so this is very important. So we are destroying whatever we have created, and we'll also remove the things whatever is not required, which is .terraform folder and terraform.tf state files. So destroy is completed. So I'll remove the Terraform folder, and also I'll remove the Terraform tf state backup file, and also whatever for my reference I have put the backup file, folder, I'll remove that also. With that said, now we'll leave with C1, C2 and then C3 for your demonstration when you are doing it. Okay, so this completes the multiple provider configurations in the Terraform providers section. In our next lecture, we are going to focus on providers dependency log file. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.